This is going to take off. This is great. Good job.
Thanks, man. It is gonna take off.
This is the Pizza and Hummus podcast.
So why would you listen to the Pizza and Hummus podcast?
Am I right, bada bing?
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
I laughed way too hard at that. That's the worst thing ever.
And welcome back to the Pizza and Hummus podcast.
What's going on?
I'll tell you what's going on, Richie. We have a great special guest right here. We have Tony Fant. He is a stand-up comedian. Tony, how are you doing?
I'm doing phenomenal. I'm even better that you got my name right.
There you go. There you go.
That's good.
They be like Tony Fant. They be like, it's an A, not O.
French.
Yes.
We got Tony Fant here.
Accent mark. Yeah. Good job.
If you were Tony Fant and then you gained weight, would you be Tony Fant bold? Like just
That's jacked up. We're talking about bold. That actually is very creative. I never thought about that. Yeah. Microsofting it up.
Tony then changed his last name to Font.
And he's proficient in Microsoft Office.
And then you guys know me. I'm Vince, always here with Richie.
Hello.
So we're just gonna start talking. Let's
get into it.
Let's do it right now. How did you guys do stand up together at Walled Lake?
We've done Walled Lake together once or twice.
Yeah.
And then I ended up seeing him at Planet Fitness when I was living
right
in
on the
Farmington
treadmill.
Hills.
Yep.
Yeah. And then,
familiar.
developed the rapport.
Rap and then port. Yeah. Yes, we did. My first time seeing you were the Wall Lake.
Yeah.
That was a nice.
I like that
time.
venue. Yeah. Now you have a bit, and if you don't want it like
It's
public
cool.
because it's
Talking about
whatever.
the Kanye West one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
people's favorite. That's lit.
I love that. Now what is your like favorite response or like reaction to that bit? Because so for it's different from mine.
I've seen it on YouTube.
Oh, you have?
I have seen it on YouTube.
Oh, you saw my stuff on YouTube?
Yes, I
hope
did
you
see your
think I'm
stuff.
funny.
Is it? Yes. Well, I do. That's why I try on the show.
Hey.
Yeah. So I saw it on YouTube, and I was almost gonna like message you, Richie, be like, listen, you have a Kanye West bit.
I was
but
gonna
this
say-
guy's he's been playing around this since like 2017,
It's so much better than mine.
and it's so much better.
I was gonna say we both have a gold digger bit. It's different punchline, obviously.
Hey.
But the one time I saw it at Walled Lake, it was you did it, and then you handed the mic to this girl whose boyfriend was right next to her, and she was like taking an inhale, about to like finish it,
Yeah.
and he like swatted. He's like, no, don't do that.
No. He's setting you up right now.
This is a trap.
And that joke works no matter what. I've
Yeah.
had people say the N-word.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on like their comfortability, I would say.
Yeah.
Some people's gullibleness, they'll just go with it because it's a song.
Yeah.
I probably told it like 20 times. Probably like 4 people said something probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
It goes well no matter what. Like,
Yeah.
if they say the N-word, I can just call back on it throughout the show.
Yeah, and then everyone's laughing out of the like if anyone's uncomfortable or anything.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
I used to start off like my sets with that, but I try to wait now, try to gauge them.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to keep starting off my sets with the same joke no matter where I go. But I mean, if they never see me, then yeah, I might hold it off until later, like a trigger shot.
Now when Richie does a bit similar to that, sometimes it kind of depends on who's in the audience. Because
Yeah.
there's some people, at least I think at like Walled Lake, there's maybe a little bit more of an older audience where they don't even know what that song is.
Yeah, they might
Yeah.
be
So
familiar
do
with
you
it.
have that situation sometimes where you're singing the words and then you want to get someone to say something and they're just like, I don't even know what song this is.
Yeah, yes. But it is more tailored toward our generation. Maybe our parents, but I wouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
You do have some people like, I don't know what. I usually target white women.
Yeah, because that's like at least if they don't get it, whatever everyone else is, it adds to how funny everyone else thinks it is. Yeah,
It's a successful joke. People like it.
Yeah.
I got to archive it. I'm gonna definitely use it in the special.
Oh yeah. Now, do you have 60 minutes or like a full hour for that special?
I have the time slot for 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Now, will I go 60 minutes? I don't know.
Yeah.
I was shooting for more 30, 45.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wrote a bunch of jokes down the other day. I had 53 jokes.
Wow, damn.
We'll see. I
Yeah.
still got to practice them. I'm coming up with new stuff too, so some of those jokes may get chalked.
Oh, that's nice.
So we'll see.
Now, are you like when you're like I'm trying to see like how you explain your style, like where you get it from, or like what kind of, because you say 53 jokes, like I kind of lean towards, I think we actually both lean towards a little more storytelling, so that's like that's like 53 hours.
So when I first started to write jokes, I would write like paragraphs to try to get them, because you got to express the thought behind the joke.
No, absolutely.
But then after you tell the joke, I thought I wanted to match that.
That was the cue.
Everyone.
Quick pause.
Now it's like, since I know the jokes, like if I've said them before, I just say like if I write it down, just key words from the joke. So like when I write that one down, it's just Gold Digger. And remind me one more time, what was the question?
So I guess your style, or also maybe length of average joke, if you're starting to notice a trend.
So sometimes I know when I'm performing in the city, when I'm around black people, it's like I have to shotgun the jokes really quick. Yeah. Boom, 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 rapid fire.
Is it because you'll lose them if not?
Well, it's more so sometimes they're into storytelling. I mean, but it's about confidence too.
Yeah.
So I can tell jokes around people my age like crazy, because they see where I'm coming from. But the older generations, I have to do a mix of shotguns and storytelling just so they can see how diversified I am.
Yeah.
I have some storytelling jokes. Like I have a Chris Brown joke about he had a song called Little Bit, where it's like about eating vagina. And so I try to develop that a little bit of like my daughter coming in the house, my daughter like shaking her stuff in front of me, like that's not acceptable.
Yeah.
That I got a wrestling bit about breaking my cousin's nose wrestling in the basement. I mean, but most of it is, and I know I have to mature, but I have a bunch of bathroom jokes, a lot of sex jokes. And I'm tailoring more so into like family communications and friends stuff for the special. And then giving some more of my personal life. So I would say for my delivery, my favorite comedian is Dave Chappelle. So I try to, deliver my jokes like him a little bit.
Yeah.
I love Kevin Hart, Chris Tucker, Chris Rock.
Yeah. And I feel like all three of those guys, they are a little more storytelling, because I'm thinking like things like Dimitri Martin, very quick one-liner of ba 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 ba, and then ba 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 ba, and that's it. Whereas I feel like Chris Rock, even Dave Chappelle, they all kind of have almost like a little bit of a story, but they also have like their joke too.
It's crazy how deep I feel like with like Dave Chappelle with his storytelling. And I don't think I have the same style as him, but I try to do something similar of when I'm doing it. It's so funny just him telling the story. He has so many jokes thrown into the story.
Yeah.
When he gets back to the plot line of the story, you forgot that he was telling the story.
Like what, that kicker in the, what did he say?
Yes.
Yeah.
I kicked her.
You forgot
all about that.
And he told you. He told you the punchline, and it killed stuff.
He goes, I just write something, I pull it out, and he says, yeah, I'm going to kick her there. And then he goes through this whole story, and then that's the punchline, and everyone goes nuts. You're like, oh my gosh.
I love that confidence there where he was just like, I'm too good. He was just boring.
That's the swagger you do have to have when you're on the stage. You do want to be confident. People can tell. They can feed off that. I think comedy is nothing but energy. Energy in the deliveries. You still want to be funny. It's how your voice fluctuates when you deliver certain words. Body language is everything. Eye contact. And then working the crowd sometimes. I do that here and there.
Yeah,
like
I do
Kanye
notice
West
you
joke.
do have a pretty good with working the crowd, as far as it just feels like is you're just sitting there, like some of your bathroom stuff it's just normal stuff that it's just like I'm telling you, do you ever, I don't know, it just seems much more of a discussion.
Yeah.
But for some reason you're still in charge. Yeah.
So I'm an instructor at my job, so I teach. So I do a lot of my jokes there as well. And I think one of my how I write is a bunch of recall jokes. Like, have you ever, you ever been in this situation? That's how I tell a lot of my jokes. I know eventually I'm going to have to get past that, but currently as a 24-year-old, that's how I tell jokes.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people are like, damn, I've been in that situation before.
Yeah.
I think every man has pissed on himself once as a child. Just catch it going down your leg before it gets to your side. It's a real thing.
Catch it, and then the sound of like you're patting out a fire. And that's what it's too.
It's cold.
Yeah, I feel like when it's the have you ever, I feel like that ends up relying a lot on this better be obscure enough and relatable enough that just the fact that I said patting down when you pee on yourself is relatable and funny enough that that's the joke in itself.
Yeah. Because you can say you can say something funny at the beginning of the joke and just throw outrageous things in there. Oh wow, that's funny.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, just eat it up. And then I'm not the best with impressions, but I definitely like try to change my tone of voice up.
Yeah.
You can tell I'm somebody else now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because my thing is I went through a point where I went from just trying to think of jokes that I would assume that people would find funny to I just started to think of jokes that would be relatable, something that kind of goes on with me. And I started kind of, instead of pointing at like, okay, this would be funny to the audience, I kind of point at, well, what's funny about me? And then that started to help my writing. It seems like you're kind of doing something similar where you're doing jokes that are more relatable to people and that you've experienced them. So you go, well, someone else has had to experience this as well. And then it sounds like it sounds like it's working out for you.
I appreciate that. Is one of the guys named Josh Adams, one of the homies. You ever heard of Joshua Adams? He's from Detroit. He about 6'4".
The name sounds. I don't think I've ever seen him perform though.
Yeah, he's one of the popular Detroit comics, and he was giving me feedback. He said you got to write jokes that you know are funny, like funny to you.
Yeah.
So not so much other people, but funny to you. What makes you laugh? Because if people can see you laugh on stage and it's psychologically, oh shit, this must be funny. And for the most part, they're gonna think it's funny too.
Yeah.
Well, Dave Chappelle does that a lot too.
That-
when he goes through like he's like the middle of a joke, he
Hits
just
the
starts
mic.
laughing. He slaps the mic on his knee, and he's like, "Okay, this is messed up, but what about this?" And it always kills, and I love that. 'Cause
lot
it
of
makes
it
you
is-
feel like we're all part of the experience instead of him just throwing out a bunch of jokes he memorized.
Hey, real random question: is that poopy butthole from Rick
Rick and Morty. Oh, you're welcome here anytime, man.
Yes, it is, and it's specifically him after he got shot.
By Beth.
Yeah.
So we're gonna spend the next hour just talking about Rick and Morty. If that's what it is.
I got all 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Season 4. When's that supposed to come out?
Shit.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah. I feel like almost when Dave Chappelle, we'll get back to Rick and Morty. I feel like when Dave Chappelle and correct me if you guys disagree, but when he does the laughing, hits the mic on thing, it's almost like he's also part of the audience, and I can't help what my brain just thought of. So it's almost like even if he's like doing something really risque or something like that, it's almost like he doesn't have to. It's not my idea. My brain did it. I had no choice in this, and I gotta tell you guys.
He's being free in his thoughts, which you want everybody to be.
Yeah.
Be free in your thoughts. Because everybody has bad thoughts. It's just sometimes some people dwell on them, some people don't.
So I feel like that's why stand-up is so, like, most people love stand-up because it's like you're saying what I'm thinking. It's relatable, it's obscure, and you're making it okay that I had
That thought.
Yeah.
You have to just choose your words wisely when you are saying that. But when you say some risky shit, just say it. Just go all out. But your confidence is everything. If you can choose your words wisely and be confident, you should be fine.
Yeah.
But also, you got to have some type of backstory on some of the stuff so you're not up there sounding too ignorant.
Yeah.
Ignorant, funny wise is cool, but ignorant as in, who the hell?
Are you just this isn't a TED Talk. What do you think? What do you think you're doing?
And I feel like that sometimes happens where there's some people where they don't even really get to a joke. They're just kind of up there talking, and you're sitting there going, is this a stand-up bit or is this a monologue? And I think that there is a difference where
they got to figure that out. The comic has to figure that out.
Yeah.
And that's why you should record yourself, and then I use it. I like football references. Like, watch the game film. You did shitty that night. Find out why.
Yeah. Did you notice like how your stand-up style changed? Like what you started at versus where you're at now, and like major points where you're like, I'm starting to actually come into my own?
So I was told, I can't remember who told me, but you have to make stand-up conversation based. Like I said, you were speaking with your homies, and you know how y'all laughing, having a good time. Stand-up should be just like that.
Yeah.
Before that, I never compared the two. You get up there and just say something thinking they get a laugh, but it has to still be like you're talking to. You have to treat everybody like you're only talking to them when you're on the stage. You don't want to make it like a group thing. Like, hey, y'all. I was told that as well.
That's specifically with addressing it as if wow. Yeah.
So then people can be like, oh, shit, he's talking to me. Yeah. And then I'm realizing that it's eye contact too. So I try to give everybody eye contact, for a decent amount of time as well. And then they'll feel more intertwined in my jokes and what I got to say. So once I realized that it should be more conversation based, I try to look for feedback. Ain't that right? Or like when they say when you communicate with people, you got to give the and stuff.
Yeah.
So do it with comedy too. So once I took the perspective of keeping it like chilling with the homies type of deal, comedy definitely flourished for me. They got to see you laugh, because if they see you laugh at your own stuff, like, this is funny, but you can't overdo it.
Oh yeah.
Like, everything you say isn't funny, bro. Like,
Yeah.
but it's like they got to see you smile, and when you smile, be authentic, and then I also learned, my older sister told me, you have to let people laugh. Like growing up, you'll say something funny and you see people laughing and you just go automatic to the next joke.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to let it
Kind of jump on it where you just like let it go.
Sometimes you gotta just let it and it take practice, but it's like you see people laughing, just hold off before you say the next thing.
Yeah.
Let that laugh ride a little bit, and then you jump on it.
And that's, I feel like, something you learn as you're like performing the material over and over again. I'm still working on that as far as like timing and letting it ride, but I feel like anytime I do learn like, oh, that joke needs 2 Mississippis, is almost always on accident, where I'll say it and then whatever, I gotta remember what the next thing I'm saying is, and in that time I'm like, oh, it needs that 2 seconds after it. That's where the laugh is.
Or I have a joke that we're saying, like my grandma called me beating off, and then it was like it was what is it? How I go? She got out that, like, I told her she got out the room. Like, I was like, get out. And she got out. And then I wait a couple seconds. Then it was like, it was going to be messy in that. And then I realized the pause helped create tension for them so I can deliver the next line. So I was like, oh, wow. It's a science.
Yeah.
It's definitely a science. And it's a lot of group thinking, because people act as a group. Like, people are going to laugh if like, let's say y'all found it funny, but I'm not necessarily finding it funny, but well, everybody else is laughing. Which also is a thing.
Yeah. It's whatever is going to let the audience let their guard down, because whether they know it or not, you get on stage and they're immediately, to some degree or another, a wall's up, whether they realize or not. Be like, help me let my guard down, because I want to have a good time.
Yeah, wow, there's a lot to cover here. Well, one thing is definitely the eye contact thing. I totally agree. I remember I would tell like you and Jarrett, when you guys say stuff, I'm like, you guys keep look like you're looking at the ceiling. You got to look at people individually, and then they feel more relatable.
I do a lot of looking down.
Or there's a lot of looking down, or you're playing with the microphone. But I always have a hard time with you said in terms of like letting them wait, letting them laugh at the joke, and then go on to the next one. And I think that too, what happens is there's a lot of times where there's a joke and it's not like a stand-up special where it gets an instant laugh. It takes a couple seconds for them to process it, and then they start laughing. Or the awkward silence starts to get them to laugh, and they start to think about the joke and think that it's funny, versus, oh, they didn't laugh the second I said it, I have to jump to the next joke, and then it gets completely missed.
It's an experience thing.
Yeah.
You got to go through the trenches to feel that.
And then it is funny with the group thing, because I remember this guy telling me once that he would go and watch a horror movie, right? Scary slasher killer. And whenever something horrible would happen, like someone would get murdered or whatever, he would just start laughing. And he said he would do it because then, sure enough, throughout the film, as people are getting killed and stuff, people would laugh and think that it's a comedy. They would think it's a dark comedy, because that's how powerful group thinking is.
So kind of setting the tone without them realizing
And I think he didn't just do it by himself, so he didn't look like just like a maniacal villain, like, yes. I think he went with like with a couple people, but they would laugh when something scary would happen, and then people would start laughing.
Yeah.
Thinking that it's a comedy now.
Yeah.
My homie DeMarcus has sent me something about groupthink. That groupthink is very primal, versus when you're an individual, you're sophisticated and you're thinkable. And groupthink is very primal. It's usually people go with their first instincts and they look around. So that's something I'm trying to study as a comic as well. Yeah. Definitely look into that stuff, because people are very gullible when other people are doing stuff. Like I got a thing now where it's like, I tell people, if you got a headache, just lift your arm up and grab this area. I call it the weenus. And just shake this right here. And you get everybody doing, that's not true. And I'm like, yeah, no, do it. And they see other people doing it and they do this shit. And you're like, that shit don't really mean nothing.
You've all been playing sheep.
Sheeple.
Wake up.
Yeah. So
Think for yourself.
Think for yourself.
At least go on Google before you do something.
Google weenus, and then.
But you got to build up the anticipation. Like, no, don't trust me here. Trust me. And then they're going to let, like, no. But then eventually they'll let their guard down. And
Like they wait for no one's looking and they're just like under the table, like.
But you got to build it up,
I
and
had
then
stoners.
once you feel as though you're there, just let them know that shit was fake.
Yeah.
Until you're just gonna do it.
I feel like there's a lot of kind of going back to that. There's a very similar tempo between horror and comedy, as far as because they're both involuntary, being scared, and there's a lot of what you're saying, group thinking, and just as I'm starting to get tips from people who are better than me and more experienced than me, it's so much sociology behind it of just like just the timing, the pausing, the eye contact, just different things that like they don't even realize psychology. It's a science. It's crazy how, as I'm getting more into it, how much is involved in a joke.
It's a lot. We got to always read. Reading is everything, especially when it comes to comedy. Like you got to move the mic stand out the way. Put it behind you.
Yeah.
I read that earlier, like because if you keep it in front of you, it's like a wall between you and the crowd. Grab it. Say like. Always say your name to start, unless you're a big time name. Yeah. Say your name. I will still say your name. And then grab the mic, put it behind you.
Huh. Do you start with your name every time?
So, yeah, when you get up there, you can say, hey, everybody, thank you for my name is blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then
it's out of the way. Yeah.
Then you start.
Then you start your bit.
Yeah.
Because now they know your name, which is the most important thing they know. And then now they know that you're being serious because now there's no fourth wall. You know, like the fourth wall that you've seen acting, they can't break that fourth wall.
Yeah.
Remove the stand. I was, oh wow, it's lit. I'm learning. Or if you on that, what's the MCN page?
Yeah.
You throw tips on there. Definitely look or ask.
Oh yeah.
This a lot of old timers on there. Like I'm still new in the game. I'm almost 4 years in. But,
oh wow.
They definitely throw a lot of advice. So we always got to ask the people who are where we want to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Facts.
That's find out who's doing what you want to do. And emulate them to some degree or another.
Well, like when we was kids, like did y'all play sports?
Barely.
Well, but there was somebody. I was just using that as an analogy, but there were people that you looked up to, like your favorite, blah blah blah, and you did everything they did. Like athletes, athletics, I would say you always emulated what they did. Like you juke how they juke, spin how they. And we learned that as a child, which also helped us have like a goal to shoot for. Yeah. So as an adult, we should still do the same things. I don't know if we'll vocalize it as often. Yeah. But you have to have somebody that you model yourself after. And eventually you might surpass them, but you have somebody to shoot towards. Not so much in the competition, but so much to kind of like lead the way. Because they kind of paved the way a little bit.
There's a path there.
There's a path. Exactly. There's a path there. That's neat.
Yeah. And then odds are that person who you're following, they followed someone else and they followed someone else and they did this and this.
There's a way to do it.
It's networking. Yeah. Networking. And that's something I didn't do as well in comedy at first. I would do my shit and leave.
Yeah. That was me the first probably year. It was just, oh, cool. I did what I needed to do. I'm out of here. And I'm just like, I stayed after once. Hang out, and I just got like, oh, you're not doing this show. I mean, just something superficial, like which shows to do. And I was like, okay, I got to start staying. There's information here.
Yeah. And then they like, you got other comics who put their own shows on, or other producers or promoters that put their own shows on it. And they might want to get in contact with you, but you dipped. So it's like, oh,
you missed it.
This opportunity.
Yeah.
And then sometimes getting paid is an awesome feeling, especially when you do good. But definitely, I think networking also helped as well because oh yeah, I remember you. Yeah. So that's something else to help change and elevate the game. Yeah, for me, I would say.
Yeah, that's what I'm just like. I mean, this is a very small scale because I'm really new into maybe a year and a half, almost 2 years into it. And the bigger part, I just noticed I did the 15-minute spot for Tom Swan at Walled Lake.
That's good. Good job. How do you feel about that?
I loved it. I mean, they ended up. It was a packed house, but only because it was busy. And so it was a little loud.
Don't even think like that.
Yeah, but it was a great show. House. Yeah. It was a great show. I loved that was the most amount of time I've ever done. And Tom's he messaged me and he said, hey, make sure you're just from that. He went out to me, make sure you're doing this show. Message him, tell him you did my show, or you did the 15-minute spot. He'll get you on, whatever. And it's just like I was like, that's the first time I saw it. Like
it's a business.
It's a business.
It's a business. And the first thing you have to do is, be confident and try not to be trash. Yeah. Because then if they can see that you have potential, they'll work with you. You may not close the show, but they'll put you on, which will only give you more experience. Right. And then once they realize that you are pretty solid, they'll help reference you for other people, which I've seen they help me with. And then that's how you can foster that relationship and keep fostering relationships. Then you're a known name. Like I think I put on 3 MSU shows that I put like almost 30 comics through so they can be on campus in front of people.
Yeah.
And that got me a lot of clout, a lot of influence.
Wow.
So now a lot of people always DMing me. And then with the special coming up, it's crazy. I get a lot of positive words, affirmations, a lot of advice. People who want to come out.
Yeah.
I got some more mentors out of it. So it's really neat. So definitely networking is big in comedy.
Really just embracing that area of your life and kind of just like falling into it. Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lit situation, I would say.
Yeah. So you started 4 years ago.
Almost 4
years ago.
September 16th will be my 4-year mark.
You have the exact date.
I love it.
That's great. Because I don't have my exact date. I don't remember. I just remember I almost had a concussion that day when I started.
God damn.
Yeah. So I was,
Anything for the game.
anything for the game. No. I was in college. I went to Grand Valley State.
Congrats. I saw your degree up there.
Thank you. Yeah. So I went to Grand Valley State, and they had this giant pendulum. It was like this giant metal ball, and it kind of like circles to show like the rotation of the Earth or something.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things to do was if you're a student, you would try to sneak on so you can hop on and ride it.
And then was it gonna drop you? Like,
Well, no. I mean, it was suspended from the air, so you couldn't. It wasn't going to drop you, but you could technically fall off,
hurt yourself,
hurt yourself, and that's what happened. So,
Wrecking ball with Miley Cyrus.
so we decided, hey, let's get a couple guys on there at the same time. So we all get on there, and then we all jumped at a different time, and the pendulum ball just kind of went like, it just kind of like shook, and I fell. I hit on the ground. And you know how in cartoons when like someone gets knocked out or if somebody, gets hit in the head, they see like stars or birds or something. Yeah. I didn't see birds. I saw stars though.
Yeah,
and I was like,
that's how you know.
Yeah. I was like, uh-oh. I'm like, this is not good. And I was freaking out. So then like we were in the comments and I didn't tell anybody like that I was still seeing stars. I'm just sitting there like, okay.
That continued until later on that night?
It continued.
Oh, yeah.
I was freaking out.
His brain for sure touched his skull.
Yeah. Like it was not good. And then they had this like open mic thing that day. And they're like, oh yeah, Vince, you should do it, or who should do it? And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I thought, I'm
delirious.
I'm gonna focus on the stand up so I don't think about how I could be dying right now.
Bleeding internally.
I could be just bleeding internally and just dying. So I started focusing on jokes, and I went up and I just said jokes that only my friends knew because it was all inside stuff. But it worked out. And then after that, when I was fine and I regained consciousness, then I was like, okay.
After my conscience came back.
Yeah. Conscious came back. I was like, I'm going to keep doing stand up.
Yeah.
So I guess for you, 4 years ago, were you at Michigan State at the time when you did stand up?
I started after I stopped playing ball. So I was a junior, my third year.
Yeah.
It was the first one. To be very transparent, I started in January, but the shit was awful, so I never did it again until September. So the
September's the real one.
Yeah. September was when I started to go constantly.
Yeah.
I got the January one on YouTube. I don't like watching it. I watched it.
I don't like remembering.
Do you watch it just to kind of like remember, like, this is where you were?
Oh,
this is where you are now?
Do you wish you had a concussion that day?
I'm talking about I wish you don't remember it.
Yeah.
It was weird. It also was a lot of inside jokes only my friends knew.
Yeah.
But majority of the crowd were my friends. So, but they also knew it wasn't funny. They were only supporting me. He's trying something different here. We'll support him.
Yeah.
It was like, ha, 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 those type of laughs.
Yeah.
Just a lot of exhales.
Yeah.
I guess that's funny.
How much do I like Tony? I gotta get them. Okay.
Yeah, but the one in September, like, because the school year just started, and I got a lot of people to come out, and it was funny. So I think that was the one that really like, yo, this is my thing now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the thing that is me, defines me.
Yeah.
Defines
Versus football, the football is my identity before. So now I would say comedy, woke blackness is my thing now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I kind of want to, with that, tailored to back to what we're talking about with like the some of the things you're talking about as far as just nonverbal cues when you're doing stand up. The first time I did stand up, it was at Ridley's.
Ooh, good job,
right?
That's a great spot to start.
I called once and they said, "Hey, you're on." And since then they.
That's the picture you put up on. You got on social media. Is that
yeah,
okay.
yeah. It might not have been that one. See,
it's not that one. Okay,
no,
okay.
I mean I've done it twice only.
I only did it once.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah,
Bullshit.
thanks, man.
Bullshit.
And they were almost exactly like 5 days apart, 1 year apart from each other. So it was the first time I did it, and I have them both filmed. And the after a year of doing stand up, and it's so funny what I know. So first of all, the first time actually went well, surprisingly, and which obviously made it like, this is me now.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
But like, I'll watch it. Mic stands right up front, didn't move it. I was like 6 feet. I was almost at the wall the whole time.
But that's fine though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine because that's your first time. Nobody knows, and then you can use the entire stage.
Yeah.
Some people
Yeah.
sit there. I learned that you have to move. You gotta move. Like, don't be stationary.
Yeah.
It's all right. I seen comics sit up on the wall and tell jokes, and this shit's funny.
But they're eluding confidence that I was not.
No, it's your first time. Bro.
Yeah. But I compared it to when I did it exactly a year later. Immediately moved the mic stand out of the way. I was so far up front, I was almost falling off of the stage. I moved a lot more. Yeah, it was funny. I was eating chicken wings in the back. Didn't think I was like the first time. I
You
was
were
like
very chill. Then.
right. I was
more
just
relaxed.
It was just so interesting to look back. I was ready to throw up the first time, and this time I got a full stomach. Be like, I gotta go up there.
How did that make you feel? Like seeing the personal development. How did that make you feel internally?
I mean, I'm talking about it right now. It was great.
He said, "Well, if you let me fucking
No. What I meant was the fact that I'm talking about it right now, I guess, kind of shows that it was so impactful to see them like, okay, like I felt confident. I felt like I am improving and this is going well. And there are things that are changing. And it felt like, you know how like, I don't know, I'll occasionally do this. I don't know if anyone else does. Like,
Oh yeah, no.
after I watch like a series of like a show or something, I'll watch the first episode and the last episode like right after each other if I like really liked it, like I did with like Breaking Bad and like other stuff like that. And it kind of felt like that, where I was just like, it's just a year passed and like just a lot of more confidence and things like that. So it was really interesting to see. Is this your podcast? No, it's just his buddy. I like getting interviewed. No, that's good.
It's better. Yeah, I love, before you get it, I love when we do have guests and they ask us more questions than we ask them, because then we're like, oh,
It's a dialogue.
Yeah, no, it's
dialogue.
great.
It's better than,
We had Julie Lapidi she's 98.7, and so she does this way more than us. And so the whole episode, it was her podcast. We were just lucky to be there. Drove it. Yeah. It was
so great.
That's hype though, because I know she probably had the pub and also helped give you more clout.
Yeah, for
more
sure.
impact.
For sure.
Hell yeah. Pickle Rick. Okay, I see Pickle Rick now.
I got Pickle Rick up there with the laser.
I was like, what the fuck? and what is that thing next to Pickle Rick? On both sides, I would say.
Okay, so
Also, I did not mean to cut you off. It just definitely caught my attention.
no. I have no problem talking about my pop collection. So this is one of my weird things. So on the left, that character is from BioShock.
Okay.
It's this big protective bird. Awesome. The other thing on the right, that's Balrog, which was that big fire demon that Gandalf
from Lord of the
fought in
Rings?
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got both of them. He's even got that "You shall not pass" kind of look. I was like, I'm gonna have them both there.
If I saw that in real life, I'll be scared as hell.
Do you even move at that point? What are you gonna do?
You
You
sit
stand
your pants.
still. You can't see you.
He won't see me.
Well, yeah. Then I have a T-Rex. You know, apparently they can't see movement or something. I don't know.
Supposedly.
I got supposedly. I don't know how they. Writers. One of the most disappointing things was in Jurassic Park. So I got the
last one.
I got the Dilophosaurus. Yeah, see that one right there? They didn't actually shoot Venom. That was just something that Spielberg put in.
They just made that up?
Yeah.
upsetting.
They don't actually shoot Venom. They just had the frills to like, hey, get away from me.
It's
they
crazy how
didn't
they
shoot
find
Venom.
stuff out like that of just like bones, Venom.
Yeah.
Well, they did. Scientists put that together.
Right.
Yeah.
They said the long neck dinosaur really wasn't real.
Wait, what?
You know what I'm talking about? The one who
Yeah, the Brontosaurus.
I just saw it on social media. Don't know the validity in it, but they were saying that the archaeologists that were finding the dinosaurs, they were like competing, and one of the guys like,
Oh,
put
you're
some
talking about the
shit
Bone
together.
Wars.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know what you're
I was
talking
like,
about.
oh wow, but they were saying that dinosaur, it just wasn't possible for that thing to be real. But then again, no, I'm just saying I saw on social media. Don't know if it was validity. Don't know if it's facts. Did not fact checked at all.
Yeah.
So let me say that
Scrolling
as well.
through. Oh, dope. Just keep going.
Yeah.
You gotta be careful not to share those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without
Well,
fact checking.
yeah, because there was this thing called it was called the Bone Wars, and they were competing to find all these different dinosaurs, and some stuff was valid, and a lot of stuff wasn't. The only problem is that there's some now. Maybe the Brontosaurus wasn't valid. I don't know.
I don't know if that was. It sounded like it was his favorite dinosaur, and I like just heard him.
No.
You mean Greg?
You? How dare you?
My grandfather was a brontosaur. How dare you? No, but yeah, so they had that, but then there's some people that get to the point where they're like, oh, well, then no dinosaurs existed at all.
Yeah.
And that's where it gets a little dangerous.
He's
But,
like, hold on. So I feel that.
yeah.
I feel that. But I don't. I mean, this is high school. I don't remember. But they were like deep, like 7th layered in the earth or something like when they find these, or like they look.
Maybe they have to be at a certain layer in order to get fossilized.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
it's like you see like I don't know. I'm gonna use the Grand Canyon. You can see the different layers of sediment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they usually found I got to get back to it. But I definitely know that they were real. Now,
Yeah.
one thing I don't know is if humans were around when they were on, at least on.
Oh
that
yeah. I don't
I'm
think so.
I don't know, fam, because dinosaurs living peacefully with humans.
That just
Yeah,
sounds like
it's just a Fred
sounds like a
Flintstone
movie
thing.
that someone should make.
Yeah. Well, no, I thought that they said that like humans have only been around for about 40,000 years. And then at least that's the oldest
it 100?
remnants.
Was it the Mesopotamian
100,000?
people?
Was it
were the-
100,000?
I think 100 or 200,000.
Was it?
100,
I thought it was the
200,000?
Mesopotamian people were the first civilization that like kept documentation, or the first.
Yeah,
civilization
when were they?
Now that I don't know.
I need another
Yeah.
Facebook post.
But I believe
Facebook, goddamn Facebook.
I believe that like we're closer to what was it? It was something pretty crazy of like how far away it was. But there's something where like we're pretty far away from like dinosaurs. Like dinosaurs came and gone, and then there was a little bit of mammals, and then us. But
Yeah, like
I
mammals
don't
were
know, it
like
gets
the ones that
confusing.
went underground.
Yeah.
And what they don't they have different periods? Because they also try to make it seem like some dinosaurs lived together, but they didn't.
Yeah, like Jurassic, like they called it Jurassic Park, but half of those dinosaurs
never
weren't
lived
from
in-
the Jurassic era.
Yeah,
they were from different
other-
eras.
which is great. I wish I know that there were more, but I don't know all of them.
We need
Yeah.
a paleontologist in here ASAP.
Yeah,
Get facts.
Where's the guy from
He's
Friends?
here tonight. Come on. I saw something where they were like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. No, this isn't the post, but it was like they were starting to believe that dinosaurs had feathers, like most dinosaurs had feathers. Do you guys see posts like that or anything?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that?
like the raptors
It's like
and
I don't want to
stuff.
even picture that. You're supposed to be like
Come on, you
bald and
badass.
evil. Yeah, I don't want you.
Bald
I
and
don't
evil.
want you to be
Reptiles?
soft.
Were they reptiles? Or what was that?
Well, actually, I remember as a kid they would say that their bone structure is actually related more to birds.
Yeah.
Yeah, because somebody said the T-Rex was related to the chicken.
yeah,
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, mind blown. I had to just, no, I refuse to believe this.
Watch-
I
If you-
refuse.
If you watch any video of like a chicken going after a mouse, those things are like raptors, man.
Just played in slow
Crazy
motion. and
awesome.
it's-
They
you got a
with the
raptor.
claws, everything. Like
Yeah.
they strike, they hunt in packs. It's crazy when you look at these little chickens and a little mouse or something comes. Like it's crazy. Whereas a lizard's, it's something with their bones, like how it's structured, of like how they would walk. It's more function like a bird.
Did they ever say why the T-Rex had those small arms? But like the only
I
thing
forgot,
wasn't
but I know it
developed
is.
with the
I know it
arms?
is actually. It isn't useless. There is something that they used it for, but I'm not sure.
They're not picking their teeth.
Right.
Yeah.
Or scratching anything. on their
They scratched their chest probably.
It's something. It's something functional, but I don't.
Or did you know like penguins have knees, but their knees are inside of the body? Like
What?
Oh, I didn't
like
know that.
in their like
in their
torso.
little- yeah, like if you see it, they have like it bends. Like I was like, that is so fucking weird.
Yeah.
Is it?
But I like penguins though.
Yeah. I never
like
met one
penguins,
face
so-
to face.
I've never
but
met one
I hear
face to
good
face.
things.
Penguins can get a free pass. I love them at the zoo. Great. Their place smells, but other than that, it's good.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of the zoo, but I know I'm not world traveled yet.
Yeah.
But I think that's why they have zoos, because they know most people will not travel the world.
Yeah.
We just capture a few animals, throw them in the cage,
Throw him in a
some food
cage.
here
You
and
know.
there.
Lion's never been happy. Come on,
I
come
mean,
on
when we
over.
got him, he was sad.
I promise, he was depressed before we got him.
Yeah. Oh man, but we was talking about homie. Like when you pulled up, we were talking about like consciousness. How they it was some scientists believe that consciousness, like the single cell organism came in on like a meteorite or asteroid.
I've heard that theory. Yeah.
And I compared it to like the asteroid hitting Earth. Compared it to the sperm finding the egg.
Okay.
I was like, oh shit, I felt deep. I felt
Yeah.
deep with that. But it was like if consciousness came off an asteroid, then that means it's somewhere else in the universe, which also means there's likelihood that there's life outside of
Yeah.
just the Earth.
Yeah, because I mean, it's always interesting because you'll hear stories or you hear theories and stuff like that. Where it's like, oh, well, it came from outer space. well, where did that come from?
Well, where did-
and like, how where does
bothers
that
me
go?
so much.
Because then
you know?
you're gonna forever keep going back.
Yeah. And then where did that come from? And then just like, all right.
And because I was like, I remember like last year, I was very interested in going to the International Space Station.
Yeah.
I was like, that shit be dope. But then I was like, what if that shit don't be dope? Like, what if I get hurt out here?
That's dope, but what if it's not?
What if I don't come back?
What if I don't come back? Like,
That's the negativity.
Rick and Morty definitely helped me with that, because you ever see the episode when they had those huge heads pop up, like,
Yeah.
sing and dance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the Earth just fucking just vanished, and Rick was like, well, if you had any asteroids,
They're
astronauts
dead.
They're dead. Yeah. They're fucking dead now.
Yeah. I want to be at Walmart when that happens, so I'm safe.
Oh man. And it's like when you go into the universe, you tapping into a lot of unknownness.
Almost exclusively unknown. You know?
Every day is a new.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a day. Every time, like,
Yeah.
because it's like,
What is time at that point?
Right.
You better hope you got to watch. And then they were like, when you go to like, I like some like Interstellar was pretty.
Yeah.
That was
I don't know if
really
it was
cool.
truthful, but I thought that movie was dope.
Yeah, I saw that as like that would be a cool theory if that's like, could you imagine of like,
I would be.
It controlled like gravity can
Time,
control time.
gradually,
Yeah.
Because then like when he went around the black hole, like, 'cause remember, I think they went to a planet and the planet was getting absorbed by the black hole.
and it made
So-
time.
Yeah, when they went to the planet and then came back, everybody was old as shit.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
well, we were just going for a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
no, bitch,
Oh
you
man,
were
when
going for a while.
he was watching those videos of his kids sending him and he missed like 30 years of their life.
Well, then you wonder too, like,
So I would
like it's weird because that planet, they would have to, like, they didn't age at all. They were only there for like a couple minutes, so their body was like, oh, you didn't age at all. But then at the same time, when they went back, everyone else aged except them. So you're just like, why is this planet
can't
not
even wrap my head
to the
around that.
laws of time? Like, it's still far away, but why is it not applying to that time?
relative.
Bro, I don't know that.
Is it only controlled in that time? Because you think like, okay, like, you know, 10 minutes there is like 10 years, whatever. You think the second they would go down, all of a sudden they would just start aging 10 years as 10
would
minutes
like,
went by.
what the fuck is happening? Like, yeah.
Just Marty McFly disappearing. There's,
That type of stuff is very interesting because I mean, shit, I don't know. I don't like. You want to think about it, but you're like, that's just depressing. Let me stop thinking about that.
yeah.
Or like when they were like, our galaxy will combine with the other-
Andromeda, I think. Yeah.
But I'm like, oh, that's scary. But I was like, hold on, fam. I'm not going to be alive when that
Not even
happens.
kind of close.
Yeah, or like the sun's going to burn out, and you're like, hold on, I'm not going to be alive at that either.
It's pretty hot right
He's
now. I
like,
think we're
currently
good.
right now.
Tony, have you seen Back to the Future Part 2?
I haven't seen part 1. I know that's what Rick and Morty play off of.
Yeah.
I've been told to go off it.
So
Wait, what?
Back to the Future
Yeah.
Part 2.
I mean, I've seen it.
Yeah,
Rick and
because
Morty.
I just
I
had
thought Rick and Morty came off of that. It was a play off of it.
a little bit, the
Yeah?
scientist and the kid.
Oh yeah,
type of thing.
Yeah.
And I think actually the original cartoon, I think it was like Morty dressed up like Marty McFly and stuff.
When they first
And I
pitched
think
it.
Morty's supposed to be like a Marty.
Yeah,
I think that's what it's supposed to be.
it makes sense.
I could be wrong. But
Check it out, dude.
But anyways, because we were talking about time, and there's a part in Back to the Future Part 2 where they go to the future, and in the future, they say, oh, you know, the Cubs won the World Series, and they're like, man, I wish I would have known that they would have won. Then I could have, I could have bet and could have won a bunch of money. So it gives Marty the idea of, so he went to like a bookstore and they had like a sports almanac of all the history of all the games that won. And he was in the future at this point. So he's like, yeah, maybe I'll go in the past and then I could make some money because I know what team's going to win every year and I'll just bet. And eventually it turns into like the bad guy gets a hold of the book and then he becomes this rich multi-billionaire guy. So, but my question was because I was talking to my brother about this, I said, well, what if you said, oh, you got this book from the future and it said these teams are going to win. And then you went in the past and then you bet on those. Would that change the future in that, like, you know, now people start seeing, hey, you're betting more on this team, so we got to make sure that this team loses or what? I don't know. It's just, it's a weird thing with time.
You have to spend the longevity of you doing that wouldn't be long. I feel like you probably get a year or two.
Yeah.
And then once they start to realize that this guy's winning a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to bet big as fuck very early and then call it quits. Because, for sure they're going to be like, because you know how they say they throw games or whatnot according to that, like what's down in Vegas. I definitely agree with that. You're going to have to do it early. That first one, go big or go home.
Yeah, this is the only one I got that I'm changing sports.
So yeah, I don't know. I kept thinking about that with
You wonder if that would change it
with
too.
time.
If they're like, okay, Cubs are going to win in '98, so you bet whatever 50 grand on the Cubs, and you make a crazy amount of money. I mean, that kind of just lost my thought there. I thought it was going to be like, what if would it change the mindset of certain people in such a butterfly effect way of where then a different team would win?
That's what I'm wondering.
You know, like would it just because now that you won a crazy amount of money and they know you bet on them or whatever?
That'll probably change stuff for you. I don't know if it'll change.
That's why I kind of unraveled as I started to say.
Yeah,
it.
does it change
it
it for you? And at the same time, if it changes the game, does the almanac update itself because it is a product from the future? So like the almanac was like, it was this book that showed all the records of all the winnings.
Okay.
So would the book change?
Would the book change according to who's winning?
Wouldn't it still?
What?
Would that mean the book would disappear then?
That's what I mean. Would it disappear?
Would it disappear?
change?
Would it update?
How was he able to even bring the book back? Because you would think like reality, like no, fam.
Could you imagine just a big hand on the door?
See, that's actually a good point because they never think about that. It's always like you go back in time and then you're like, they always show like a person coming back like, yeah, I was there during the pirate times, and they're wearing like a pirate hat. But yeah, can you move different forms of reality? With that said, can you maybe that's why you yourself can't go through time.
Yeah, because you'll probably mess up the fabric of the universe.
Yeah,
Right. I feel like every theory for time travel of which way it goes, does it create a new universe? Are there now multiple universes? Does it change the past? All of them seem to just be like, this can't happen.
Because I feel like, will we be able to even fathom time change? Like, there's no such thing as time here. Everything's forever.
Yeah.
You can't fathom that.
I feel like your brain can't wrap around like how many
like
moving parts there would be to that.
So what about when humans created time? Like, I guess they did it for seasonal purposes. Like, that makes sense. Like, we got to guard
and to understand things, and the fact that we could we in a way created time in a way of measuring and understanding, and therefore we had control of it. We even talked about our previous episode about this idea that like, since we can control time in a way, we could sacrifice something for something greater in the future. We can make a bargain with the future of, okay, I'm gonna skip dessert because I want to be fit. So then, because in the future you'll be fit if you stop eating desserts and if you exercise.
Is time a double-edged sword?
What's the other edge?
That's what I'm asking. Like, is because now I would say like humans, now that we know time, it also scares you about death more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like before we didn't have time. I mean, now that we have time, we have to go to work at certain. We have to do things by certain. Normally it'd be like, well, the sun's right here. They had a little dial. I guess it was the first part when they had time. You could see the shadow of the sun.
Yeah.
Just so we don't want to be out when it's dark.
Yeah, things have to be done, but that's just looking at the sun. So I guess that was the first time they started to use the sense of time.
But I don't know if that correlates with death as much because
so I was going off like eternally. Like eternally, we think eternal is forever.
Yeah.
But when you start putting times on things, now it's like,
things end.
We know it has an end point now.
Yeah.
So now I feel like I'm not gonna say death is the main thing now that you have time, but definitely is more on the forefront of your mind.
Yeah, because for you, the subjective experience, death is the end.
Death is
so if you're
end,
thinking about
supposedly.
time,
it's the end of time, but in a way, it doesn't. It doesn't affect time because there isn't like at 3:00 I'm dying.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't affect
you know
time,
what I'm saying?
Could it be the reminder of it?
Yeah,
reminder of time.
And it's on an individual scale because I don't think, or like when people die, he died randomly. And like for you, we don't know, but for him, he no longer has an idea of time.
I feel like it would only make sense if like everybody died at like, let's say 100. Because then when you start to outlive your parents,
because it's random,
because it's so random, like you can understand time, but still die at age 12 or age 84 or age 57. You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard to go like, well, now that we understand time, I guess the only way we could figure it out, I think it does mess people up when they outlive their parents. Like their parents, say, died at 50 and they're like 64.
Is that expected though?
I think it is expected. It is good, but I think that kind of messes people up because they're thinking like, well, I lived longer than my parents, so I could die any second now. Whereas when you're a kid, you think you're invincible and you have all this time.
Your parents, as in like you were older than your parents when they died, or that you were still alive when they died?
No, you're older than your parents when they died.
Got you.
So like let's say, like my grandfather, for example, his dad passed away when he was in his 50s, and my grandfather's in his 70s. So he's like, I so far I've outlived even longer than how he lived because of, medical
That's
science.
actually really good. Humans are looking for longevity.
Could you say the double-edged sword part of it could maybe be now that we know death exists, whether it's the reminder of, let's just say it's as simple as my parents dying. It reminds you of death, that it exists, because we often forget it most days.
You having too much fun?
Yeah. It could it then be a double-edged sword of you use it as a positive perspective of I'm living the life I want to live, and using it to motivate you. And then the other edge of the sword is it paralyzes you, depresses you. Could it be that double edge?
I think so, more so the latter. If it depends on how you think about mortality, also something I'm gonna talk about. I think if you depending on the perspective you take on mortality, you can either use it to light the fire underneath you to get having the fun life because you only live once supposedly. Yeah. But for other people, be like, that's sad. Yeah. That's sad. Every day, all day. That's sad. Like, God damn, bro. You don't think of nothing else, bro? Like, right. So I would definitely say time is it was beneficial for us because it gave us structure for humans. But I don't know if animals use time, but it's more so for mating.
Primal reasons.
But theirs isn't so down to the T like ours is. Yeah. Like your dog, okay, it's time for me to get up. Let me get you up. Let's eat. Let me piss. Or there's stuff like that. But ours is God damn, I'm late for that meeting.
Everything is rushing through your life or
going through the
It's
clock.
supposed to give you organization, but it also kind of installs a little fear. I'm missing stuff. I'm our generation is the whole we're missing out thing.
The fear of missing out.
Yeah, we're all on social media at 2 fucking a.m. When we know we should be asleep getting ready for work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of interesting because that concept of time hasn't been around that long. I mean,
talking about that level
in terms of we're where it's not just social media, but just in terms of having a watch and having a concept of every hour. You knew daytime, nighttime, dinner time. You had some sense, but I guess during the Industrial Revolution, that's when they started to bring out the big clock towers, and the whole point of the Big Ben, the whole point of a lot of these clock towers was so that way the workers knew, I have to be into the factory at 5 a.m. and then when it hits 5 p.m. I can leave or whatever the times were. I don't really know.
Was time an inevitable thing that was going to happen for humans?
I think so in terms of productivity and stuff like that. Yeah, it starts to get a little more like now we're so focused on the second, on the hour. Got to be here at this time. Got to do this at this time. From this time, I do this time. But I don't know how much that relates to death, though. I don't know how much that relates to death because death is in a way random.
Yeah, but as far as just
I'm thinking more so the individual. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's subjective of the just now that I know
that I might die. That's the big L is what I call it. The last L or the last L is pretty good too. That's more.
Yeah,
sounds like an IPA.
Yeah, the last L. So it's I think it just makes you more mindful of death. I don't think death is the big thing that comes from time, but it definitely you're more mindful of it. And that could just be once a year, twice a year versus 0 times. Yeah, because overall as a society, I don't think we think about death until somebody else dies. Yeah. When we kill cows and animals and chickens, it's yeah, food. Yeah, but when it's one of our loved ones, would be oh shit, my time's coming.
Yeah.
And then purpose, and then I also want to talk about dimensions. Y'all know anything about dimensions?
Depends on how far you go, because I haven't looked up anything on dimensions.
All I know is about the 4th dimension. I don't know anything else about.
Yeah.
Isn't the 4th time?
Yeah, that's what I was told. The 3D is up, down, left, right, forward, back. And then with time, we live in the 4th dimension versus some animals don't really deal with time. Yeah. But then they were saying the 5th dimension. They always say the dimensions I thought was with your mind. That's all I know.
All I know is what I think.
But I want to study more up on the dimensions because I feel like that's something crazy. Yeah.
I wish we were more prepared, Richie.
I really wish we had more dimension discussion.
Because I would have loved this.
Yeah. It's crazy to think about with dimensions, and I'm totally out of my...
Don't worry, same here. I'm totally out of my scope of support.
Yeah, but that's part of the fun, though.
But so the first dimension is just a line. It's just a line. It has 0 width. It's all length. And you can draw a first dimension in the second dimension, right? A line can be on a square, and then you can draw a square on a cube, which is in the third dimension, which has all of the depths.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, and this is normal.
What is the fourth dimension?
This is normal when you lose me too, bro.
And then how does it go beyond the cube? You know what I mean? If we're just drawing an example of dimensions.
You know KRS-One? It's a video I put my sister hit. You know KRS-One, the rapper back in the day? I don't really listen to him. But
KRS-One? No, I don't think so. That sounds like a radio channel.
Yeah, it does. You're now listening to KRS-One. So he was a rapper back in the day when hip-hop first. He was one of the pioneers. He was saying at least how he was teaching it was the fifth dimension was going inward. So he said, like, he put up this rock star sign and it was like, don't say nothing with your words, but say it in your head. And then you can say rock star in your head. He was like, okay, now who said that voice? Mm-hmm. And he was like, okay, who heard the voice? And he was saying that when you go internally in your head, that's the fifth dimension. That's what he was teaching. I'm like, oh, that's some badass shit.
I love that theory. That's crazy.
Like going inward. Yeah. I'm like, yo, that's fire. And then I was like, okay, that makes sense because sometimes if we're out and about, if you're out and about with your homies or even at work, you and somebody could see somebody do something foolish and y'all look at each other without saying words and be on the same page. Like,
and you all said
you said nothing.
Full sentence.
But in your head, y'all both there, like y'all communicate. And that's what I think animals do. I think because it's weird you see animals communicate, they just be right here, like in the wild, they just be looking at each other. They're like, what the fuck is
no sound made.
And they just pounce on each other like, oh, okay.
Or anytime you see like birds, they just all fly together, then all of a sudden they just go, and they go complete opposite direction, all in syncrasy.
Yeah. And they know. And I wonder, do they have leaders? I don't know. Do they have?
Well, if they do the flying V, you can propose that the one at the front is the leader, but who knows?
And they were saying like the ones in the back, weren't they like old? The ones that are the elders, I thought I read right. They're the ones who aren't as strong, so they catch a lot of the drift or the air and it flow from the other
wings.
Yeah, so they don't have to flap as much as everybody else. I was like, wow.
Oh, that's interesting.
I was like, somebody really loves animals to study that because I never would have knew that.
Yeah. Someone's just up on a plane just like taking notes.
You see the way the angle,
Well, and it's interesting too because with animals it's kind of hard because animals I don't know, it's not so much consciousness, but like think of my dog for example. If my dog is fed and my dog has some sort of attention and has shelter, he's good.
He Gucci.
Yeah.
I mean, he's happier than most people will ever attain ever. But yet with us, if we have all those things, and even if we have a surplus of those things, it still doesn't give us happiness. We still have to have something. We're still contemplating.
Is it because you know something that he does not know, like a purpose? Like, so maybe his ideal purpose is to simply be. Mm-hmm. Like the whole being mindful of being in this moment and not worrying about the future. Well, we're like, we got a plan. I want to get married one day. I want to have children. I want to get this house. I want to blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But for him, he's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
I got everything I need. Like,
yeah. And I think that's why too, when let's say, you kill an animal and you eat it or whatever, we don't feel that as much because since they are just in the moment, they are in the being. There's nothing like when you see like a 12-year-old kid pass away or something and you're like, this kid has so much potential. They had dreams, or even someone that you've known for years, they die of 105 years old. All the memories they had, all their goals, all their purposes, how they thought, how they interacted with the world. It's a much different level. I think
that's interesting with like Wayne Dyer. I think he was talking about, specifically geared towards purpose, and he was talking about how like animals. There's no hyenas. Hyenas hunt and they kill whatever. Hyenas never question. I should have gone to art school. It's like that. I mean, like
they sit back and reflect.
Yeah, I mean, think of like every Disney movie. It's always an animal it's always an ant who doesn't feel like I'm part of the pack. And so it's his journey of they gave purpose to an animal who before that point was never questioning, what am I doing here? Mm-hmm. Which I think is really interesting, the difference between animals and humans for the most part.
Well, yeah, I guess I saw somewhere like humans are, they said there's different levels of consciousness. Like humans have all three. So like they said some animals are more just eat, sleep, sex, die. Some animals are like prey and they have to be mindful of the space around them, so they're more spacious conscious and time conscious versus us, where we can think for the future and plan for the future.
Yeah.
Well, they can to a degree, but not like
They can hibernate.
can't take out insurance.
They can do whatever, but like
Start
there's only
investing in the
so much.
401k.
There's only so much sacrifice that they'll do before they get to the point of like I see food, I eat it, type of thing.
Yeah. So and then I feel like humans are like that at first. Like when we were kids, we were free.
Yeah.
I mean, our parents made it that way because our parents kind of like they paid the bills, they did everything. You just simply had to be there, not be bad.
Keep being a human.
Don't be bad. Don't morph.
Yeah.
Don't evolve on me
No.
here.
Yeah.
Like
Don't evil. Stay.
How did they do in Pokemon? They evolved how when they just leveled up.
Yep. Leveled up, or if they got like a evolution stone. There's always like little
Okay, yeah,
things.
as long as those aren't around for little kids.
Yeah. Don't hit no evolution.
How the?
If you see a lightning stone, other direction.
Don't touch it. Tell your mom.
Tell your mom.
Don't touch it.
That's for 3rd grade.
That's why they don't want you to eat too many rare candies.
See that?
But how the hell did he grow a mustache at 7? You know,
Did you eat a thunderstone?
he's evolving, honey. That's real. I think it definitely has to do with purpose.
Yeah.
I feel like animals are more content, but they also, I'm not gonna say that they don't have the abilities to think like we do. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I don't like when they say animals don't have feelings. I'm like, well, you hit a dog will go "Ugh," like that.
Yeah.
They'll
definitely-
whimper, they'll growl. Yeah.
like, that's feelings right there.
Yeah.
He understands. But for us, I definitely think we're more yearning to understand why than simply just being here. That's kind of like when I was depressed, I went through that. I feel like all these why questions, like why is this? How did this come to be?
Yep.
And then some people just are satisfied with the information they have, but some people are really going down that rabbit hole. And that rabbit hole is hella deep. It's never ending.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta know how to just, you know what? I'm just gonna stop digging today, and I'm just gonna chill out.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta be mindful.
Yeah.
Because that's is mind blowing.
Yeah.
So
I've heard with like Alan Watts in reference to that.
I like him.
Yeah, he's
I
awesome.
love him.
He talks about that specific journey, and he says that the end of that journey is it's the journey back to where you already are. So it's like you have to do that whole journey to
You're gonna
realize,
uncover some stuff.
Yeah.
to realize you're there.
Go into the underworld and recover what was lost.
Yeah.
Hercules.
I like that analogy. Yeah. You do definitely have to go into the underworld. Everybody go through their little personal hell. And then
Fight the dragon, get the gold.
That's how you fight the dragon. Wow. If they were real.
Well, think about it though.
damn,
Well,
that'd
think
be
about
scary.
like all those stories and stuff that inspired you growing up. You know, and you think about, you know, let's just say the knight in shining armor. He goes and fights the dragon. Well, why does he fight the dragon? Well, he fights the dragon because the dragon's protecting the gold, or is protecting the maiden. You know, the prize in a way. Not saying that
That goes back deep.
women are prizes, but it's this thing that we have instilled in us to where, like, the risk of death or the risk of something bad is not as much as what is to be gained from that. And then you bring that stuff
I was talking
back.
about, so the gaining, what you got from it, the
The
experience.
gaining, yeah. And that's why I have this weird thing, and I don't know where it is. But in terms of, there's, like you said, there's kind of the two thoughts of death. The one is like, oh man, I'm going to die soon. This is horrible. And the other is like, well, I have a timestamp, so I have to live it out as best as I can. I think that there's a third option in that death is death and just kind of suffering in general. It's we accept it as, well, this is how this function, this is how this works. So how can I get something meaningful in spite of that? It's like, even though there's all this negativity in the world, all these bad things can happen, kids can die, disease, plague, death is around us. In spite of that, there's an ultimate good that I want to get in spite of. There's the gold
In spite of it.
behind of the dragon. There's something there that is worth doing all this stuff, because otherwise it gets to the idea of, and I think I brought this up before, why don't we just all be high, drugged out, and eat and do whatever just all the time? Why would we ever just be conscious or uncomfortable ever? Just be as comfortable as possible. And the reason why we do that is because we would inevitably kill ourselves if we were just getting consumed with everything all the time.
Well, it's about that time.
Yeah.
Let's
So-
all drink this drink really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we were always just,
always pleasure. You would say.
always pleasure.
So
It
you're
can kill
saying
us.
it's like the balance between pleasure.
Exactly. There's the balance of like meaning is even though there's going to be suffering, there's going to be a greater pleasure over here than if I just stay in my comfort zone and pleasure here. It's kind of that going through, in a way, going through death, killing off parts of you that was afraid of the suffering in order to be something greater.
Symbolically
Like a
killing off the
reborn.
bad. Yeah.
Alan Watts also
Phoenix.
said he was talking about that, the balance, and he said life implies death, and then he corrected himself. He goes, rather, death implies life.
Yes.
Because of the dark,
You can see.
you see the light. Yeah.
I like that. This is getting real deep.
Yeah, this is
fun.
So what about?
so this is a comedy podcast? I don't really know.
God, am I tuned into the right?
You're checking, is this Joe Rogan? All right.
Sure.
Where's the jokes?
This is real. So purpose. Some people think you're predestined. Some people think you give yourself purpose.
That's the question.
And then I think it's up to the individual.
Yeah.
I think you want to be around people that can help like throw you ideas. But I think there should be some type of method where parents are like, this is what I think, but you're your own person.
Yeah.
Explore.
Here's what's available.
This is what I can offer you.
Yeah.
You go to other people to get what they can offer you. I feel like that. I'm not a parent. I don't know.
Right.
Well, even with the stories too, when you kind of go back to like, think of any story, Star Wars, whatever, all the great stories, they always have like in the beginning, like a mentor, a master, but the master never stays with them throughout the end. Usually the master dies or goes away and is like, now you're on your own. And I feel like that's kind of how it is
part
when
of
you
it,
grow
too.
up. You know, your parents are like, here's what you should do. But at the end of the day, you're going to be on your own. You're going to have to make the decisions for yourself. Is if this is going to be the path that works for you or if not. They don't sit there and that's why they say like helicopter parenting is bad.
What's
Because you're
that?
not
Like
helicopter
monitoring
parenting is like the second something bad happens to the kid, the parents are like helicopters.
Yeah.
They swoop in and they control everything.
No
It's like,
lesson learned.
no lesson learned.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is with that is the kid since the kid doesn't learn when the parents are gone one day, and hopefully the kid, outlives the parent. The parent that they everything that they lost that purpose, they lost that gaining. They didn't learn anything because they were so used to their parents.
How do you essentially, as a human, because it's a lot of people go off their feelings. How do you know, like, because some parents are like, he just do what he do, and other parents are really over there. Like, how do you find that?
What is that balance with
as
that?
a
I
parent?
think that's the $1 million question.
Oh, that's just
It's
Johnny.
like you don't want
punched
them,
another
you don't want them to
rabbit.
stay in the house all day because the world is a scary place.
Right.
But
Yeah.
then when they're adult,
You don't want them
they
doing-
gullible and like.
Hood rat crap.
Yeah, you're like, how the fuck? Why did you give your social security number out when you were on the bus? Like,
Who gave you a megaphone to shout your social
it's like,
security
how-
number?
You thought that was okay, but
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the parent.
Thought everyone was.
But
doing that.
I think that's what it is. I think it's finding that balance between like trying to inform your kid as best as possible, and then you just go, I gave you everything I could, and now you have to do it on your own. Now you have to learn it for yourself. And I think that's
How comfortable? I know it's hard to get. You don't have kids yet, do you?
I don't have kids yet.
But you are married.
I am married.
Kudos. As a parent, you can. How do you? We both can all play on this.
Yeah.
You know how your children will teach you. Your children can still teach you, even though you're the adult.
Oh, absolutely.
How comfortable? This is a scenario off the wall.
Yeah.
Your 7-year-old child. She makes $2,000 a week off YouTube videos after taxes.
Ooh.
And so that's over $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
And she's very financially literate.
Mm-hmm.
She makes her money makes money.
Yeah.
How do you have that conversation with your child about money? Are you going to allow your daughter to teach you, or how do you see that panning out?
That is so interesting.
Like your daughter brings home
Yeah.
over 100,000 a year, 7.
Yeah.
So by the time she's 18, I don't know what the math is.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I think it'd be hard in terms of I don't make that much in terms of making 100,000. So I feel like if I told my kid certain stuff, my kid might be like, "You don't make that much."
He's a-
However, you know what I'm saying?
Does the hierarchy just change?
like
Because they're still
I'm the
respect you.
breadwinner now. Yeah.
They
So like, they still
still
respect you.
respect
I think it would be mainly, I think you can apply in terms of finances, you can apply it to whether you make $10,000 a year or $1 million a year of making sure that you don't spend more than you make, making sure that, you keep it safe. Yeah, you're bringing in 100,000, but as we all know, think of every YouTube star in the last 5 years. Go back 5 more years. Those people, I don't know what happened to some of those people. Yeah. So you kind of teach them the responsibility of taking care of this stuff, not assuming that you're always going to be making that much, or not assuming that all this stuff happens, being real smart with your money. I remember hearing that T-Pain, even at the height of when he was doing the best of his career, he always would put 50% of his earnings into savings.
Damn.
50%.
You don't hear that.
I couldn't even do that. Even if I made as much as him, I don't think I'd be able to be like, yep, 50% is going to go away.
It's like spending.
Because you're so tempted to buy. Yeah. Isn't it always funny? Once you have money, you can find $50 on the ground. All of a sudden, you magically have things that you want to buy now.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of crazy? And I think that's how it is. So it's like teaching yourself that discipline of like, even though I have this money to buy this, I'm going to take the sacrifice and not buy it. I'm going to put it towards savings.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Okay. So Tony, what, I know you got a special coming up, so is there anything that people should look out for you? Social media, shows, anything.
So my social media name on Twitter and IG, so Instagram for those who don't know, is T Fant. So TFANT Jr. On Facebook, just Tony Fant Jr. Personal page and comedian page.
So is there a way that people can access your hour special? Is it recorded? Is it going to be taped?
So we're going to record it. So September the 7th, the day of the show, we're going to actually record the whole thing.
Go to the show.
Yeah, go to the show. Yep. It's at the Village Theatre in Canton, Michigan. It's a $12 entry. You can go online and buy it. Call them. It's still $12, or you can go in. I think it's if you want to call them or go in, it's 10 to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. You can buy tickets. Ticket prices don't change.
It's linked
and all this
to
stuff
buy tickets.
All this stuff will be brought up.
Instagram.
And all this stuff will be brought up on your social media. Yeah, so you'll be talking about that.
I'll be pubbing that. If anybody, me.
2 days for posting on Instagram.
It's going down. It's going down. I'm trying to build more of a social media presence too. So that should be fun. And then where it comes down, I don't have a set home for where it's going. But I went to iTunes to look for help for aggregators. And they gave me a bunch of distributors who were aggregators that could possibly help. Yeah. One I've been looking at is Giant. I would love to put it on Netflix. Yeah. My goal is Netflix, Hulu, iTunes, Amazon Prime, and then Comedy Central and Kevin Hart's LOL Network. So those are the 6 that I'm looking into. Yeah. So it could probably cost me around $2,000 to pitch it, or maybe $25. I don't know. I suppose I have the money because I'm also getting sponsors for the event.
Oh, nice.
Like I got the venue and everything paid off, but the sponsor money and as well as the ticket revenue that we get will go toward aggregators paying them that way.
Beautiful.
Nice.
And then I feel like from there it's cool. This will be my first stand-up special. It's just me.
This is exciting, man. That's awesome.
This is going to be dope.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
People going to come and support.
Sweet. Well, thanks for stopping by, Tony.
This is an awesome episode.
This episode was lit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was baked if they seen this.
Yeah.
I want to talk about some wild stuff.
Yeah. I thought you guys were going to talk about basketball. What's going on with football and sports?
Yeah.